Hi, I'm Kristen Packard with American Pacific Mortgage, and welcome to this episode of KPAC Lending. I am here with our local expert, Kristie Nelson from Keller Williams, Success Realty, and she is going to go over some questions that, a lot of people ask about what I'm calling the curious buyer. So we run into the same questions from curious buyers over and over again, and so we just wanted to go over some of those today. The first one that we usually run into is, now is now a good time to buy? So when people ask you that, Kristie, what do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now is a great time to buy. We have lots of inventory still on the market. The common conception is once school starts, the housing supply dwindles. And quite honestly, we still have a strong market. We still have lots of inventory on our market. In fact, we're right about now, we're about 1.5 to 2, maybe even 3 months of inventory on the market still. Again, that is dependent on price range, but we still have a lot of inventory out there. This time last year to now, we have about 5% more homes on the market than we did a year ago. So.
Okay, so 5% more than last year. Mm-hmm. So I'd say it's even a better time to buy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so that's great. That's really exciting. Okay, so what would you say to buyers who are maybe, worried about the low inventory problem?
I really on that side of things, again, we have a really strong inventory. Depending on their price point. So if they were concerned, I would say really we could pull up where they're wanting to live and really looking at what they're wanting to spend on that home in that market, mm-hmm. and show them really what we have inventory-wise. People are surprised when I actually sit down with them and show them, in their price point, what's available. So it might be just a matter of them sitting down with the local expert, mm-hmm. to see what is available. They would be really surprised.
Awesome. Okay, so another reason to hire a realtor, mm-hmm. So you can learn your market and know what's available.
Exactly, yeah, and along those lines, sometimes there's so many resources online that it sometimes will steer a buyer thinking that there isn't inventory. Sites like Trulia and Zillow, those are just ones that most people go to. The misconception is those sites aren't updated accurately. They're usually 6 to 12 months behind the game. Mm-hmm. So really having a local expert where they can call and have a voice to talk to and meet with would really be helpful for them in their buying power.
Right. A lot of people don't know that Zillow or Trulia, we're not a state that shares our information. Mm-hmm. And so the information that they have most times isn't accurate on those websites.
Yeah,
right.
That's correct. Like I said, they don't update as often as they should, and so you might be seeing data that was from 6 to 12 months ago. So
exactly, and talking about interest rates and things of that nature, I know a lot of buyers have been asking, well, maybe I should wait to buy, but then there's always the key factor that interest rates have been continually creeping up, mm-hmm. and from what the Fed has told us, that's going to continue. Mm-hmm. We'll have a couple more rate hikes throughout the rest of the year, mm-hmm. And how that affects a buyer, for example, is if you were pre-qualified for $350,000, and this is just an estimate, at 4%, if your interest rate went up to 5% because you waited, you would only be pre-qualified for about $311,000 mm-hmm. after that. And say it went up to even 6%, your purchasing power is going to continually go down. So you would only be maybe qualified for about $278,000. Mm-hmm. And so those are things to think about when you're waiting for what people are saying the market to drop. Even if your sales price goes down and your interest rate goes up, mm-hmm. You're going to continue to be either right where you're already at, or in a worse situation than you were in the first place.
Right. And with that being said, I actually have a lot of buyers who ask me all the time, well, do you know what the current interest rates are? What would my payment be? And I always tell them, that would be a lender question that we would need to contact, a lending professional. But with that being said, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't there a lot of factors that go into what drives someone's interest rate?
Yeah, I always feel like when people say that, what's the interest rate today, the rate, and they feel like it's that cut and dry. That couldn't be further from the truth, to be honest. So there's a lot of things that factor into your interest rate. One is the type of loan that you're trying to do, or that you qualify for. 2 is your credit situation, and income. 3 is at least your down payment, and your loan to value. And so all those things factored in together, is what gives you the best rate. And it would be per person. And so, of course, you can give, a range of what rates look like. But really, that's another reason to talk to a mortgage professional, because someone else's interest rate might not be the same rate for you.
Okay. And that's why I always tell them, this is really a lender question. And so, yeah, talking to a mortgage professional would definitely help answer that question. And so my question to you too is, we've kind of touched this a little bit, but a lot of my clients ask me, is now a good time to buy with the rates going up? And you kind of went over that, but tell me a little bit more about, I know you guys have some programs, and that affects things too, doesn't it?
Right.
With someone's buying power. And
Yeah, so American Pacific is really forward-thinking in the way that we do business. And when we see a need in the marketplace, then we will create a loan that fits that need. And so, for example, right now, we have some great loan products that are very specific. And you might not know this if you have chosen a certain career or, employment path, that there could be certain loans that are specific to you. So for example, we have a doctor loan, it's for physicians, dentists, veterinarians who have been in the industry for at least 10 years or been 10 years from their internship. Also, it includes all medical doctors and dental surgeons as well. And so there's a wide range of variety there that fits into that category for loans. Also, we have the STAR loan, which is for people that are pretty much giving back to our community. This gives them a discount on their closing costs. It's for police officers, firefighters, teachers, and correctional officers. And so if you're working in any of those capacities, you would qualify for that loan. And then also, we just came out with, in September, a loan that is specific for Amazon employees. So we now have an Amazon employee loan, and because we saw for that need in the marketplace. And so that's one of the things that we do, moving forward, and will continue to do as we do business, is just create lending products that we see a need for.
So, yeah. Well, and one thing I have to say, in working with Kristen, working with you directly and your team, it's just nice to know that I can send my clients over to you guys and know that their questions are going to be answered and handled professionally, and that you are going to take the time to sit down with them and go through all the different scenarios, because I know there are several scenarios that go into getting a loan, and one loan might not be the best fit for someone, that might be the best fit for someone else. And I know you guys take your time to really sit down with them and match that loan product for each particular buyer. And I know all of my buyers have been grateful for that, so thank you.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we do. I mean, one loan might be great for someone else, but it really depends on the goals and the wants and the needs that those buyers have. And unless you sit down and talk to somebody, it's hard to just go online and say, I'm going to get a conventional loan, I'm going to put this much down, I'm going to look up this calculator, oh, that's going to be my payment. There are so many things that factor into it, and it is great to sit down with people and go over it, and they're always amazed at how much more information they get after they leave my office.
Yeah, that's been the consistent feedback, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and feel free to give us your feedback, and we'll see you next week.